Let's get it, let's go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, let's get it, let's go. Yeah, yeah. Let's get it, let's go. Yeah, we in the zone now, in the zone. Money on the floor now, on the floor. Never seen a crew so fly, yeah, we taking over the town. Watch them throw it back for a stack, make it bounce for a while. See the vibe go low. Got no time for being shy. With all this paper I can buy. Wanna see you moving now. I can do this all night. Yeah, it ain't even a try. Black truck pulling up to the back door. They already know what we came for. Got the whole section going crazy, that's a fact though. She a bad thing, so on the main floor. She already know it, yeah she know it, yeah she know it.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Zaio monthly town hall. And this is town hall number 7, guys. That is incredible. And wherever you're joining us from, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you are tonight, we're just super glad that you're here. To our amazing students, to our alumni, and all of our incredible team, the mentors, the instructors, this one's for you, and thank you so much for being here, right? So guys, it's June, right? And June is basically Youth Month in South Africa. And it's a time where, we should actually celebrate the amazing things that young people have done, be it the courage, the resilience, and the voice of young South Africans. So we've actually got a super amazing guest with us tonight, and I'm going to introduce her in great detail later. She's got an incredible energy, but today's theme is about finding your own voice and owning your path, right? So it's about speaking up and actually being heard, okay? And it's about trusting yourself to take ownership of your journey, whether it's the ups, whether it's the downs, whether it's the heaviness that comes from pressure. It's about owning your journey. So this is an incredibly powerful conversation we'll be having today, and we have an amazing guest who will be joining us, right? And also, guys, since you guys are here, we've got a special gift for you, right? Tonight, we've got a Take a Lot voucher, okay? We're going to basically be doing a Take a Lot voucher giveaway, and I want you to stick around till the very end, right? So you stand a strong chance to get this, and yeah, just stay tuned for that. We'll be dropping that in. And also, if you're tuning in, wherever you're tuning in from, let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know where in South Africa you're tuning in from, or where in Africa, or where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to see you, and we'd love to see where you're coming from, right? So just a high level outline of what we'll be doing today. We're firstly going to see a couple of updates from our CMO, Harjot, then Asif, our CTO, and Buhle, our head of placements, right? Got a lot of interesting things happening there. And also our guest, right? And her name is Buhle Geleba, and she's got incredible experience, and I'm super excited. I'll give more of an introduction later, right? She's going to be an incredibly pivotal part to this conversation we'll be having today. And of course, the voucher giveaway will happen at the end. So without further ado, let's jump into the next segment, where we hear some key updates and announcements from Harjot, our CMO.
Oh, I've been on mute. Sorry, guys. All right, here we go again. So it's been a while since we did a town hall. It's been a couple of months, and super excited to share with you some of the things that have been happening over the past couple of months. Um, so this year we opened up our physical campuses. That's one of the highlights that I want to speak about. Then we have our weekly newsletters that have started going out. We call it the weekly commit. And then finally, I want to speak about the affiliate program. So let's start by the weekly commit. The weekly commit was started about a month ago. So far, we've seen a lot of engagement happening there. So thank you for everyone who is currently reading that. So for those who don't know what the weekly commit is, we send out a 2-minute value on every Thursday. It could be in the morning, evening, and it directly lands into your email. We send you an email, you go through it. It could be about what's happening in the industry, in the job market. The goal is basically to try and provide you with some value, 2 minutes of value. That's what we call it, and that's what we're pushing for. Um, so that's basically the weekly commit, the weekly newsletter. And how you can join this, if you're not subscribed to it, is go to our website. You can go directly under the community section and click on the weekly commit newsletter, and then it will literally take you 5 seconds to sign up for that newsletter and start receiving a whole bunch of value every Thursday. We also collect a lot of feedback so that we can constantly keep improving our newsletters. So please do provide us with some feedback. There is a link on the bottom on the emails on every Thursday. You can just click on it, provide us with a short feedback, what you think about this particular email, and what would you like in future emails, and then we'll start looking into those. So that's basically our weekly commit. Then the second thing I want to speak about is the affiliate program that has been super popular over the past couple of months. So for those who don't know what the affiliate program is, Zaio's growth has been happening over the past couple of months, and we see a lot of our alumni, a lot of our creators, our students who are constantly referring a whole bunch of students to Zaio. They're referring parents to Zaio, and to make sure that we keep this structured, and also reward the individuals who are referring us, we have this affiliate program going on. Joining the program is super easy. You just go to the website, click on the student section, and then click on become an affiliate, fill in a 2-minute form, and then we receive the application for the affiliate. We review it, and then you'll basically receive a code, and you share that code with whoever you are referring. So that's basically the affiliate program. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll be able to answer that. And lastly, guys, it's the physical campus that we opened up early this year. We've been super excited about it. We've opened up a campus in Cape Town as well as in Durban. We've got tutors in person. We've got lecturers coming in person. And why I'm bringing this up right now is to basically encourage you to come visit us, come see us in campus. Zaio, it's not just an online learning platform. We're building a community, and part of that is the value that we're trying to provide of the environment, the community factor, just the accountability. So coming in person, meeting other individuals, meeting your lecturers, and not just seeing them on a screen, just creates a different environment. You're able to learn so much more within that, and hence why I'm really encouraging you to come and visit us in the Cape Town campus as well as the Durban campus. So these three were my short little updates that have been happening over the past couple of months. I'll hand it over back to Akil.
Thank you so much, Harjot. Those are some super exciting updates. The weekly commit has been super, super informative, and also not a lot of AI is being used there. It feels very human, so that's very nice to see, right? And of course, guys, the affiliate programs, please join. I think the kickback is amazing. I think you earn about 2,000 rands if you successfully refer someone, which is actually quite a handful, right? If you refer more people, you earn a lot more. And of course, about coming to campus. The places are sleek, guys. Like if you look at the Cape Town campus, I'm a bit biased. I'm based in Cape Town. I love the vibe there. The team has done an incredible job to create such a homely vibe there, right? And definitely come check us out. We also have a campus in Durban, right? So that's also a beautiful, beautiful space to visit, right? So yeah, the next update is going to be Asif giving us something around learning as well as tech. Asif, I'm going to hand it over to you, man.
Thank you so much for that, Akil. How's it, guys? So for you, I have two main updates to make, right? The first update is regarding the launch of our digital marketing bootcamp, right? This is actually one of the shortest bootcamps that we've got, but we saw a lot of value in this, right? With people being able to build a lot of AI products, the key in everything becomes how you distribute and market that product. Okay, so the bootcamp is at the intake for our first digital marketing bootcamp is on the 6th of, or the deadline is on the 30th of July, and the start date is the 6th of August. So if you're a developer who's building tech with the help of AI tools right now, this would be a great bootcamp for you to join. If you're someone who wants to now distribute a product, do some research about the product, it's a great course for you to join as well, right? I was going to quickly skim through the content that we're actually deciding to cover in this bootcamp, right? It starts off with just understanding what a modern funnel looks like, and moving on to understanding the audience, the positioning and messaging of launching a product, right? And then we also deal with how to do SEO, how to create organic content in this world of AI where everyone's using AI to write their blogs and various parts of the content they use on the website. We also have a section where we cover paid and organic social media like your Facebook ads, Google ads, and one of the most interesting part, and the part that I think which is very very tech focused, is basically creating automations with email marketing. As much as Zaio is a tech focused institution, we try and involve add tech in a lot of the things that we do, right? We also have a section on influencer marketing and UGC strategy. That's one of the strategies that has been very viral right now. A lot of companies are using them, and I think that this is something that every bootcamp has to cover in digital marketing. And lastly is connecting everything together, measuring the results for what the product that you're selling. So if you're marketing something, if you're not able to measure it, you're just burning money, right? So that's how everything comes together in this digital marketing bootcamp. All right, cool. So if you're someone who's actually interested in this, you can go and apply on the Zaio website. Applications are open. The deadline again is on the 30th of July for this bootcamp. The second update I want to make is regarding our occupational certificates, right? This is mainly for Zaio students who have already graduated. And let's say you finished the full stack web development bootcamp, or you finished the cybersecurity bootcamp, or you finished the data science bootcamp. But remember, the bootcamps that we had didn't have like a full qualification attached with it. They were either with a Microsoft certification or a CompTIA certification, right? So if you actually want to get like an NQF qualification, right, which is a QCTO occupational certificate at NQF level 5, we have three main occupational certificates. We have software developer, cybersecurity, and data science practitioner. We have a few more we're planning to launch, but we'll talk about that in the next town hall. But these three align with the bootcamps that we previously had. And if you want to actually get the qualification behind what you've studied, you can actually upgrade your bootcamp into a occupational certificate. So let's say you've graduated, right? Or you're currently in the Zaio bootcamp. What you can do is once you complete the bootcamp, you can upgrade to the occupational certificate. So for something like this, you can always like reach out to someone from our team and tell them that I'm already in the boot camp or I finished the boot camp and I want to just cover the occupational certificate part of it and get the NQF5 credits. The cool part is that you don't have to pay the entire fees for that, right? Because how we do our occupational certificates is we cover the boot camp plus the QCTO content together to then deliver the occupational certificate. But material or covering the remaining stuff that has to get you the NQF credits, you complete the assessments, the practical modules. There's a section for work placement module as well, where you go into a workplace and complete some of your credits there. You do all of that stuff, and then you write something called an ESA exam, which is also facilitated by the QCTO, and you get your actual NQF5 qualification. So you've done the bootcamp, all you're doing is just complete the QCTO section. The reason we actually done this was because we got quite a few requests from students who finished the boot camp saying there was the point of me actually doing this section of the course because I've already completed this in the boot camp, and that made a lot of sense for us to then bring something like this for you guys and bridge that gap to actually get a full qualification. So if you're interested in that, feel free to reach out to me. If you're already a Zaio student, you should have access to me via Discord. You should have my email address, or you can just call someone from our team and say you want to upgrade and you are basically in a boot camp right now. And if you're already doing a boot camp, just make sure you finish the boot camp. After you finish the boot camp, we can enroll you into the upcoming occupation certificate. We usually have two intakes. The first intake is in the early January, February, March, around that time, and the next intakes are basically second semester, which is now around June, July, August. So if you already graduated, feel free to reach out to us, and if you want to join the June, July, August batch of occupational certificates. Those are the two main updates. Thank you so much, guys, and yeah, hoping to see you all in class.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Asif, for some fruitful updates. Lots of exciting things happening in our learning. With AI, it's dramatically forced us to actually stay up to date with what's happening, and most importantly, make people adapt to what the job market needs. So it's always very exciting to hear the amazing updates that come from our learning team. Cool. So now we've got some super exciting updates from Buhle, our head of placements. Super excited for you guys to hear this update. And over to you, Buhle. The stage is yours.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. So there's a lot of exciting stuff happening. And as you've heard from Asif right now, that we are really ramping up what we are providing for you guys in terms of your journey with Zaio. And one thing that has always been important for us at Zaio is to make sure that you are not only upskilling and learning something new, but also being able to set yourself up to actually succeed in a new career. And us at the placements department are actually ensuring that from day one, when you enter a boot camp, you actually receive support from us in various different ways. All right. So one of the things that you are going to experience when you do enroll for a Zaio bootcamp is that you are going to have workshops every single month that upskill you in the important things that you need to succeed in the job market. So one of our foundations is making sure that you've got a proper LinkedIn profile that is something that you can present to the world, something that you can interact with, and ensure that if you are talking to people who are in the industry and who are in the trade, that you can actually present that properly to those people. Another aspect is making sure that you have a personal portfolio that is presenting your work in the best possible way. As tech professionals, often we think that our skills are what is going to get everything over the line or get us, across the line. But we need to ensure that we're presenting ourselves properly. So when you have a personal website, whether it's using Canva or you're using any other platform, Zaio is going to help you to ensure that you are using a platform that is going to present your work in the best possible way, and then you can show that work to people. And then another aspect is ensuring that you've got a CV that is ATS ready. We're in a world where AI and ATS is something that you've got to ensure that you're on top of, right? So throughout your bootcamp, we will be coaching you on making sure that you've got a resume or a CV that presents the facts in the right way, in the most succinct way as well, because we've seen that someone will be very tempted to present everything about their career. And you might feel that it's everything that is relevant, but a lot of the time when it comes to recruiters or hiring managers, you are not actually presenting the information that is most relevant. So when you are in a Zaio bootcamp, we are going to coach you on what is most important for your resume. All right. And then over and above that, there are certain techniques that you cover during your time with Zayo, such as ensuring that you can present yourself properly, that you can network, for example. So there is, an aspect of your bootcamp where you will be networking with people who are online. Zayo is very big on TikTok, so we encourage people to, use their TikTok accounts to follow accounts that are of interest to them. You might be a developer who is learning about Python for the first time, or you might be learning about Ruby or Angular for the first time. There are so many people who are speaking on such topics for the first time on TikTok. So follow such accounts, and we will also tell you why it would be beneficial for you to also have an account on TikTok where you are also posting about your own updates, because the more that you put yourself out there, the more that you are building opportunities for yourself over and above the day-to-day job applications that you do via LinkedIn, your Indeeds, your Careers 24 and such, right? So we are the platform that is helping you to look beyond that, right? We're in a world where everything is changing rapidly, so don't undermine your social media like your TikTok, okay? And beyond your boot camps, we also provide support in the form of helping you to approach the right companies. We've got a wide network at Zayo of companies that we work with who are always in the market for junior talent, entry level talent, intermediate talent, because we also know that a lot of you do come with experience, but maybe not necessarily in the technical trades that we specialize in at Zayo. So we're finding a way to link that together, right? So we are the people who are going to be your middleman when you are addressing those companies and ensuring that you can get the opportunities that you're looking for. So our team is very well equipped to ensure that you are able to to present yourself in the right way. I'm really, really, really excited to work with a lot of you. And yeah, it is something that we are really driving at Zayo. So please ensure that when you do start your Zayo journey, make the most of every single aspect of the journey, not just the technical side. Please engage with us. My DMs are always open for your questions. My emails are always open for your questions as well. I love engaging with you guys. Even if you want to see me on a daily basis, I'm very, very happy to engage with you, because we want to see a huge change in the South African market. We want to see a huge change in how developers are succeeding in the nation, and ensure that South Africa is developing in a way that we become a superpower, at least in Africa, and eventually a global superpower as well. And we can only achieve that through you guys achieving what you want to achieve. So yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, I'm looking forward to engaging with you guys.
Thank you so much, Bukle, man. That was such a lovely update, and I completely, wholeheartedly resonate with everything that Bukle has mentioned. That we really genuinely want to create a change in this market. Unemployment is so high. There's still a high demand of talent. So that is exactly where we come in, and Bukle plays a pivotal part in this whole process. But yeah, guys, this now it's like time for anybody that's tuning in, by the way, guys, this is our Youth Month Town Hall number 7. And there is a giveaway that's coming, a Take a Lot voucher giveaway. So definitely stay tuned. We'll be dropping the QR code in a bit. But now for the conversation that I've actually been looking forward to, right? Our guest tonight is a broadcaster, a communication strategist, and actually one of the most exciting and emerging media leaders in this country, right? In 2024, she was actually named one of the Mail and Guardian's top 200 young South Africans in film and media. This is a recognition of the impact that she's already making, right? And why we really wanted her in this conversation today is because she spent her career amplifying voices, right? Like, especially young people's voices, and creating opportunities for young people to actually thrive, right? So she knows what it takes to actually find your voice and own path, okay? Because she's done it herself. She's walked that journey, and she's actually known for her incredible energy, right? We just met her before this live, and she's got such a warm energy. She just seems so authentic, and her ability to actually connect with people, right? And I think you're about to feel that. So please help me welcome, guys. We have Buhle Geleba, who's joining us today. You're welcome to come onto stage right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That introduction has me a bit nervous, but very excited. I'm very, very excited to be on the platform tonight and to join you, your alumni, students, as well as your network.
No, thank you so much for making the time to be here. It means a lot to us. And I love the t shirt that you're wearing, by the way. Shout out, let's go.
Yes.
um, yeah, no, so let's jump into it, right? So, for the people that are meeting you tonight, who is,
Yes.
right? Like in your own words, not the bio, not what I said. Let's hear it from you.
Yes. So, Ubuhle, first of all, I love to introduce myself on every single platform in my mother tongue. Igama lam nguMhlontlo Buhle Geleba, inzwakazi yasemampondomiseni, uphahlo, umphankomo, ithole lomthwakazi, which are my clan names and essentially a historic account of who I am. I'm a young person, born in Cape Town, raised in the Eastern Cape, and I came to Johannesburg to chase a dream that I found to have had since the age of 12. I love my family, I love my friends, I love to travel, and I love animals. So I'm just one of those people who love being in nature, I love animals, and I really like taking it slow in my own private life outside of and above all of the things that I do in my career.
Wow, what an introduction. This is definitely something I'm going to remember. That was actually so wholesome, right? But I'd love you to take us back, right? Like, tell us a little bit about your journey, right?
Yeah.
What was that first moment you realized that your voice mattered? And, what actually got you to that point?
All right. So I've always been a bubbly child, right? And my parents put me into advertising when I was 4 years old because I used to dance and I used to do all sorts of things. So I was just a very active child, right? So I ended up moving. We had to move, my brother and I, from Cape Town to the Eastern Cape to be raised by my grandparents, right? And one day I walked into a shopping mall, and at this shopping mall, where we are from in the township in Mdanzane, they had a little a corner where they were broadcasting, and there used to be radio announcers throughout the mall as you're doing your shopping. You can go to such and such a store, they've got a sale there, they've got this. And I was 12 years old and I walked in. You could see microphones, sort of podcast style, right? You could see microphones, just a little desk where you can announce prices of shops. And I walked in and I told them that I want to do what you guys are doing. I find it so interesting. And I just wanted to be there. I just wanted to experience that. And really, the rest is history. I then started doing a lot of auditions whilst I was still in the Eastern Cape. I then was a radio presenter since 12 at Mdanzane FM, which is a community radio station. And I stayed there for about 7 years until I left high school. And then I went on to an online radio station, KNR, which was also like satellite. And then I went to auditions. So it's been a continuous journey of auditions, of trying to, make a name for yourself, because I realized that I've got this gift of actually speaking and connecting to audiences, right? And I could say that the performing part, so at school, I used to do sport every now and again, but I was doing it because it was compulsory. And what would then happen was that a lot of my time was spent in dance class, in theater, in performance, in drama. So everything that was artistic and performative and that was outside of the schooling curriculum. So I got to Johannesburg, and I remember when I was when I was still a teen, trying to figure out what the name of my profession would be, because by the time you leave high school, you need to know, are you going to be an accountant? Are you going to be a lawyer? Are you going to be a doctor? Like, you need to name it. And I was struggling to name what I wanted to actually become, because I was not sure what they're called. Is it even legitimate to say I want to become a television presenter at the time? So I think, to tie everything up in terms of my of career wise, is that I've always had an inclination, and an intuition of the direction that I would take, and that would be in journalism and it would be in broadcast. But to answer your question, the first time that I felt that I really had a voice in terms of asserting myself was actually when I was 15, and it was in high school. So I went to a former Model C school, and I had dreadlocks at the time. And it was during a very tumultuous time with the private schools and the ex Model C schools in our country in regards to hair. And I made a very bold decision of when I was called out of assembly to say that my hair needed to be attended to. And you're only 15, you're quite, you're tiny, and there's these teachers that are telling you that there's a problem with your hair. And in that moment, I said that no one is going to touch my hair, and I am not doing anything to my hair. It was neat and it was plaited, but there were fundamental issues. And in that particular moment, it was mainly about my self dignity, my identity, as well as knowing that something is wrong that is happening to me, and I'm at a disadvantage primarily because of my age at that particular point in time. But that didn't necessarily stop me in actually vocalizing within that moment what I thought was wrong and what I thought was the right thing to do.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, what do you think gave you that courage? Because a lot of people, they might succumb to that situation, and
Yes.
I mean, they might think it, right? They might think that I want to
Yeah.
say this, right? But they might not actually have the courage to say this. So, what actually pushed you, and maybe walk us through a little more about your thought process, before you actually voice yourself.
Yes, I think I have to attribute that from the background that I come from. And the background that I come from is that it is very dynamic. So you'd be aware that in South Africa, many of us, just to also maybe inform some of the international students, is that in South Africa, we've got a very complex socio-economic background and landscape. So I was being raised in the township, but I was having a very different experience in terms of the schooling system that I went into. However, I do need to attribute to my family that that was the foundation of understanding that you belong in that space. You are deserving to be in that space. The school fees that our parents are paying in comparison to other parents within the school is no less than because of where you come from, and your voice is no less than any other um demographic that is within the school. You are just as talented, you are just as smart, and you belong there. You're not an outsider that needs to be given, sort of a handout, or you can't speak. Because a lot of the time, what I've also realized in my work is that the dispossessing someone of their voice means that they are always a subject of something, and which is one of my biggest interests, is that our socio-economic issues in our country are as a result of systems that are very oppressive to different people, to different demographics, to the extent that institutions in general have certain ways of operating. And sometimes, if you feel like you don't belong there, that takes away your sense of identity. It takes away your dignity and even your thinking process to even think that I'm unable to do this, I'm not as smart, or I'm not as capacitated to be able to be at the same level. And that happens from schooling level to tertiary, even into workplaces.
My God, you've touched on something so deep, something I've actually never thought about personally, right? It's kind of subconsciously uh,
Yeah.
dictates what is right, what is wrong, what should you actually
Yes.
think, right? Because of how the system has been designed.
Yes.
That is so interesting. But like, how do you? Because I mean, that I guess that builds the whole concept of the inner voice, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
always like that inner voice that you have. But it's also about having some kind of conversation with that inner voice and overcoming that kind of variant of yourself that is trying to say, hey, like for example, a silly example maybe is like, man, today you should just rest. Don't go to the gym today. But
Yeah.
your inner voice telling you should rest. But then you actually stand up for yourself and say, no, I'm going to go, right? It's winter,
Yes.
I'm going to go. So it's like, how do you so I'd love to hear more about, like, obviously it's a skill, right? It's something that you develop, but I
Yeah.
want to hear more from you about, like, how did you become so strong and so eloquent in, it's not only the ability of actually speaking, but also how you speak, right? So what did it take to actually develop those skills? Did you actively do it, or did it come naturally? I'd love to hear more about that.
So, one of the most important things that I've ever learned in my journey in radio is that if you were to cut this analogy, if you were to have 8 hours of cutting down a tree, you should use 6 to 7 hours to sharpen your blades, right? And that analogy speaks to then preparation. I was preparing to be on television whilst I was still in Mdanzane. I was rehearsing in front of the mirror. I was looking at videos on YouTube of autocue probably 10 years before I actually ever got onto the public broadcaster, which would be the SABC. I never knew how it was going to come, but all I knew was that I had to prepare for that moment. So the first thing for me is preparation. The skills are built over a very long period of time. And the long period of time are the different things that you are doing when no one else is watching. So, for example, even before I got the audition to do Kids News, which was a kiddies show when I had gotten to Joburg, I was already practicing auto cue, and that was available on YouTube. I didn't know when the opportunity would come. I didn't even know, for that matter, if it would ever actually arrive. I would rehearse up and down in my res room, in my apartment, how I speak, and I take very deliberate decisions. So, for example, as young people, we love going out. We love, a great time, but there are particular decisions that I have to make in order to protect my voice, for example. So I usually say to some of my friends that unfortunately I can't go to the second location after lunch, or whatever the case may be, primarily because that environment is going to have an direct impact on my actual voice. So let's say, for example, there's smokers around, or if the place is quite loud, you're going to have to shout, and that has a direct implication on my health of my voice, and I try to preserve that. And those are some of the deliberate decisions that you have to make to preserve your income, to preserve your voice or your talent. And it has to do a lot with discipline. So
Mhm.
I'll often say that if I am, for example, you are passively smoking and you're not a smoker yourself, you are going to suffer, for example. And I'm making an example particularly of that because it's something that affects the quality of my voice. So when a client wants to book me to be an MC at the event, I need to be at my best performance and capacity for that. So it's a mixture of things. It's discipline, it's resilience, and it's honing yourself in, and it's to continuously refine yourself so that on days where you're not feeling really well, you just know how to do it because it's in your blood, it's in your veins, and it's something that your brain even knows how to do.
Wow, these are such golden nuggets that are very helpful for our students. I just love what you mentioned about discipline. I highly resonate with that. To the point where it becomes second nature. You don't have to proactively think that okay, this is what I have to do, but it
Yes, yes.
naturally just becomes the next action you take, right? Or
Mm,
the choice of words that you have, or like the way you voice yourself, right? I guess
yes.
discipline preparation is like years of work in the making. But I'm very, very fascinated to hear that you actually used to look at yourself in the mirror. That's insane. Wow.
My family always used to tease me about that. Buhle is literally always in front of the mirror, rehearsing. I used to, even with my family when I was really tiny, like at 10 years old, they'd be like, Buhle, go stand there, go do your link. And I would just do it and I would just run with it. And I had not even known at the time that it would be something that I actually end up really doing and fulfilling.
No, it's so crazy though, because would you say you somehow manifested this because you kind of were already preparing for this? Would you visualize yourself,
I
being a
would.
presenter?
I
So
would.
wow. So there's also an element of like manifestation that comes into this.
Yes, yes. And it's really strongly believing in this one thing. I don't think my own life, I don't imagine myself doing anything else outside of broadcast, outside of the media space, because I have a sense in myself that very few people get sort of this gift, if you'd like to call it, that I'm born with something. Sometimes I'm even like, oh, I don't think I did very well at this gig or that engagement. However, there's a feeling, an intuitive feeling that you definitely, definitely, definitely know.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, like, I'd love to, like, talk a little more about, in the spirit of finding your voice. It's about that backing yourself, right? Uh,
Yes,
so, obviously you did put in the hours. You were very deliberate with the decisions that you made to actually build your confidence.
yes,
And I guess your preparation is also what built your confidence, right?
yes.
I want to talk about a different angle where it's like, what does the confidence look like on a bad day when your self doubt is at peaks? Probably like back in the day before you had your first real opportunity. How did you handle yourself during you know the slump times?
I I rely very heavily on my community. I rely significantly on my community. That's the first part. My community consists of childhood friends, friends that I've made in adulthood, colleagues that I've worked with in the past, my family. But outside and above and beyond, I need to tell myself that it the best days are ahead of me, and it's not and the worst days are behind me. So I don't think that I would have been brought this far by a skill, by God, by my own belief system, only for me to sort of lose the plot at this particular point. And I also do believe that every single event, every juncture really has a lesson to give you, and that's something that I need to take out. But also you need to find ways to pump yourself out. So putting on your clothes, making sure that your face is done, you're looking good, and really centering yourself that I'm born for this, this is what I'm supposed to do. But on the difficult days, I do have to say that I rely on memories and how far that I've come.
Yeah.
I really rely on memories, on how far I've come, and just also what I'm trying to achieve. So, my dream and the bigger picture is always the source that it cannot be the last and final time until I see through the ultimate and final dream. So there's a quote actually, my brother and I usually talk about, and it's from Rick and Morty, and it talks about if it's not the end yet, I will remember it because he told me about it this week, and then I remembered it as well. At the top of my, I don't have it at the top of my head now, but just before we actually end this call, I'll remind you and I will let you know what it says.
I'm gonna hold on to that because now I'm curious. What is this? Rick and Morty for the win. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, I just want to bring it to the attention of the audience. Guys, we've got a Take a Lot giveaway happening, a voucher giveaway. So there is a QR code that has been appearing on the screen. You can scan that QR code and you can just drop your application and stand a chance to win this 300 rand Take a Lot voucher. So get scanning. And also, guys, if you have any questions for Buhle, there's so much that we're taking away from this. Please feel free to drop it in the chat. But I've got more questions for you, so I'll keep talking.
Yes.
But if we see any interesting questions, definitely, you guys can advise me, right? I just want to talk about the whole thing. Like we touched on such golden nuggets up until this point, right? We spoke about
Yeah.
being able to back yourself, in finding your own voice, right? But one of the things about owning your path, it comes from, how you mentioned, Bukle, like sometimes the way we think
Yes.
subconsciously becomes a nature of the systems that we're subjected to, right? So with that, often people, they might grow up, with, for example, how do you my main question is like, how do you turn your story into strength, for
Sure.
somebody who feels like they have nothing grand to show, or they feel like they have something to hide? How do you turn that into a strength and own that?
Yeah. I don't have an easy way to say this. You really need to deal with your problems. And I'm putting it as plainly and as bluntly as possible because once there is a a circumstance or an impact on your self-esteem, on your confidence, on where you come from, on how you speak. Every single person has, I would like to think, has different and varied insecurities. You have to deal with those because those are some of the problems and issues that will be to your detriment. And a lot of the time, what happens is that because those things are to your detriment, they will hold you back and you aren't able then to fly. So, for me, for example, one of the most important things that I've had to do was attend therapy and fix my brain wiring in terms of I belong there. I know for a fact that I am talented and I've got a skill, and I need to be confident enough to actually share it, primarily because of other people go through trauma, other people deal with issues that are relating to either family or circumstances or environments. They all vary depending on where you're from and what your life story is. But one of the most important things is self acceptance and understanding your own identity. Because once you self accept, you have your own identity, you won't necessarily succumb to your environmental factors. So, knowing your values, your principles, how you want to lead your life. So, for example, one of my highest values, probably at number one, is that my sense of integrity and always trying to do the right thing is the foundation of my life. So if I know that I do not agree with a particular view or I don't think that it is right, that is something that I'm not going to turn from.
Hmm. Okay, so I mean that's incredible. I feel like a lot of what I'm getting from what you're saying is clarity. There's like a sense of clarity in terms of
Yes.
awareness, defining, what is it that you want to be, who you want to be, and actually defining what you want your journey to look like. And then your actions kind of speak to the values that you build
Yes.
up, right? So Those are some nuggets. I think that's going to be very helpful for our community. We've got a really interesting question over here, right? um,
Mm-hmm.
what's one fear that you've actually had to overcome?
Sure. My fear actually, I didn't know it was a fear until it happened. So my grandfather died, and I I don't think I knew that I had that fear until it actually happened. So he was the head of our family, and he had a very strong way of leading our family, of instilling confidence in us, of having a way to sort of instill certain values. So you always had a safe space to go to. You've always had someone to confide in, to give advice, right? Until I realized that I don't think I'm fearful of anything else now, because my biggest fear would have come true, right? And one, because as a child, you always have a guardian or a parent. So sometimes you're not sure if, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? Who can I go back to? However, I now trust enough that the lessons that were instilled in me when I was younger are the important things and the legacy that he has left behind for me.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that's a tough one. I mean, it's a tough.
Yeah.
Life throws different scenarios and situations at you, which kind of force you to overcome these fears.
Mm.
Yeah. So we got another question over here. How do you deal with imposter syndrome when you were still on your journey, if any, and how did you overcome it?
I don't, career wise, I don't think I had imposter syndrome, primarily because I had this thing in me. I would get into any space, I'd start talking. And
Yeah.
also, I think it has to do with my character and my nature, that I'm a very inquisitive person. I love engaging with people, I love talking and just hearing out what you've had to say. However, I think a bit of imposter syndrome um, would have been academics wise,
Mm,
because I came back from a schooling system that divided people, that these are the smart ones, these are the ones that need to be taken to a class that is not so smart. My averages, for example, in comparison from high school, switched. So from just being an average student in high school, because you are told that, oh, okay, no, you need to drop mathematics, you need to drop accounting, you need to do these subjects, and these subjects are the ones looked down upon. That switched completely in
mm,
university, primarily because that schooling environment at the time was not catering for a person who thinks in the way that I do, for example. So I'm very humanities based, I'm very creative based. So if you go to a science focused school, or a school that only focuses on one particular aspect, it's difficult to get out the best from people. So by the time I went to university, I was there, I was at the top of my class. And it was primarily because of the things that are important to me, how my brain functions in comparison to what was happening in high school. So I was very surprised. In fact, last 2 years ago in my master's class, which I'm still fighting for, where my percentages and my averages and my contributions in academia actually mattered.
mm.
And my contributions in academia were actually great arguments for that particular space. So different systems and different environments need to bring out the best in the people that participate in them.
So would you say you wouldn't have had imposter syndrome if in high school you were just exposed to a system?
Yes, I don't think so at all, because it things like that actually taint your confidence, because now you're trying to think that, oh, okay, so I'm not good at maths, or I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. And then you land up in a university space that has a plethora of opportunities and that has various servings that you can actually pick from. You
Mm.
know, one of my best subjects that I still enjoy, which is a very dense subject, is sociology. And I find myself to be very interested. I even do self study in other fields now because my confidence was grown by the university that I went to, and my those spaces helped cultivate my own way of thinking and my confidence in the academic space.
The space you expose yourself to clearly matters a lot. Like, you know how they say your environment.
Absolutely.
No, it's so crucial. This question actually is something which I was thinking about asking you also, right? But more from the lens of, let's say you could speak to your 18-year-old self, right?
Yes.
What's one thing, or what's the advice that you would actually tell this younger version of yourself? Like, what would you tell this person when they started off?
Yo, when they started off, you have to keep pressing. You have to
Don't stop.
you have to keep pressing because it's going to happen. You have to keep on pressing because it's going to happen. Believe it or not, a bit earlier I was having a discussion. Many of us that went to public institutions in South Africa struggle a lot with historical debt of the university paying your fees and things like that. So it does become quite a frustrating time because the fees in our public institutions really need you to gather all of your coins to just put into the institution or bursaries or things like that. So there was a point in time where I think it was in my honors where I just actually felt like giving up because struggling to pay through with fees, you are trying to push a career, you're going to auditions, so all of those things are happening at the same time, and you can imagine trying to balance school, trying to get in the industry, just to try and get your foot in the door, really does have an impact on how your view is and about how your environment is. But my younger self, you have to keep pressing.
Don't stop. Yeah.
Really, you do not stop until something happens for you. And I think perseverance and resilience really does help when you look at it. And there's no determining factor if your moment or that click is going to happen next week, in 3 days, in 3 months, in 3 years, or 5 years. But you have to be sure that it's something that's definitely going to happen.
I think it just boils down to your belief. And once you have that belief and that clarity, you don't stop,
Yes.
press, and you keep going. And
Yes.
something is going to convert. It's going to happen at some point. You don't know when, but nothing is going to stop you,
You
right?
truly have to believe in it.
Yeah.
You really have to believe in it because you actually shouldn't even give yourself an option that it does not work. It has to work. And I think it's that stubborn faith and that stubborn belief that it has to work.
Bukle, I needed to hear this today. So thank you so but yeah, I think let's take like one or two more questions. And just a reminder,
Sure.
guys, for the Take a Lot voucher, we will be announcing the winner in about 1 or 2 minutes. So definitely, if there's any last few applications we can get there for the voucher entry, you can do it right away. This question is also really good. So confidence is something that many young people chase, right? So how would you define confidence today compared to when you were younger?
Oh,
Very good
wow.
question.
That
Yeah.
is a very, very good question. I think how I would define confidence is really having an unwavering belief in your abilities and your talent. I think confidence is not being dimmed into something that you are not. It's believing that what you are is good enough, that you don't have to perform something else to be accepted, to belong, and to be deserving of opportunity, deserving of a chance, to be deserving of a spot. The inherent being of who you are and what you have to offer and what you bring in terms of talent, of skill, your personality, your characteristics, your values and principles is just enough. And that confidence needs to stem from there. I would also advise that if a young person is struggling with confidence, we need to have a deliberate investment in the things that are important to us. Try and see a training coach. Practice via YouTube if you can't, uh, you know, pay for a vocal training or etiquette or the various things that we get trained for as young people. Have deliberate efforts that you're putting into yourself. So, for example, when I rehearse for a gig, there are free things that you're able to do to take care of yourself and to have different changes. If you feel like your vocabulary isn't good enough, or you feel like you're a bit shy in terms of public speaking, pick up a book and read. Read out aloud. There are different ways that are inexpensive. There are different ways that we're able to pour into ourselves to be able to become what we want to be. So, your inherent being is good enough and you do belong. It's just a matter of continuing the preparation. There's a scholar, I think also in sociology, that says, is it a scholar or is it the
Okay.
Bible? I'm not sure. But
Mhm.
um, there's a part that says victory favors the prepared. And when you are constantly in preparation, something actually has to give.
And I guess that becomes a root, one of the roots, like actually
Yes.
confidence is to be prepared. And with to be prepared, you got to be disciplined. Um,
Yes.
Lots of golden nuggets here, Boucle. Are there any closing remarks or any kinds of, let's say you want to leave a message today, right? I want to
Yeah.
open the floor to you um, to leave a message while actually prepare for who the winner is of this Take a Lot giveaway today.
All right.
Yeah.
I would like to firstly thank the opportunity to come onto this prestigious platform to speak and to engage. Like many young people, there have been moments in my own career where I have questioned myself, moments where I've wondered if I was actually ready, if I belonged. But every single meaningful opportunity in my life came because I chose to move. So we always have to have greater belief than the fear. It doesn't mean that the fear is not going to be there. It doesn't mean that doubt is not going to be there. However, pursuing confidence, pursuing articulation, pursuing a career, pursuing a particular dream all starts with you being able to have the courage and the resilience to continue within that journey. And I just want to say that we need to also lean on each other as young people. We need to lean into our institutions. We need to lean into our belief systems because, you know, the funny thing about life is the fact that no one actually has the answer. Of what the end result will be. But the best that we can do is to use this opportunity to the best of our ability. Number one, we really need to be prepared. Um, whether it is for maybe, for example, for students that want to prepare for their interviews, always be prepared. It doesn't matter if you think that you are, rather you are over prepared than under prepared. Always respect people's time and respecting environments that you're in. And I think that preparation is a respect for yourself, for people that are within that space, for your craft, and overall a respect to your dream. And lastly, I do want to say that I remembered and I found the quote is that everything will be fine in the end, Mori. And if it is not fine, it is not the end.
I feel like there's no better way to end this town hall. That's like mic drop right there. Those are just like shining right now.
Thank you.
This was amazing, right? Like genuinely, I feel like I want to talk to you more. There's a lot of like golden nuggets that you've dropped over here. The recordings will be available, guys,
Yes.
on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and you can find it on our socials. But yes, this is exactly the mindset that we want our community members to adopt, so that they can win. And the insights that you've shared on your journey,
Mm,
qualities. These are really defining. This could be a defining moment for a young person out there.
absolutely.
So
Just one more
yeah,
thing, pardon me. I just want to, still on that note, one of the most important things that I've learned this year, and that is a blanket approach. It doesn't matter your belief system, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter what your dream is and what you struggle with. The most important thing is that you need to tell yourself that you can do hard things. I can do hard things. The hard thing could be getting up in the morning. The hard thing could be the coding. The hard thing could be the discipline. The hard thing could be getting into the next module. The difficult thing or the hard thing could be the next interview. But one of the most important things that will, you know, increase and cultivate that confidence is saying that I can and I am able to do hard things.
amazing. Yeah, those affirmations. I'm personally taking a lot away from this. I can do the hard things. Yes, thank you so much for that, Boucle, and thank you so much for making time today. It was such a pleasure having you here. Um,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and now I'm going to announce the winner, guys, right, for the Take a Lot giveaway voucher. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen so we can see who the winner is. Cool. So is my screen visible, guys?
Yes.
All right, let's go. So I'm going to spin now.
Woo!
All right, cool. So Mpumalanga Kemfu is the winner, right? And basically, the next step from here is someone from our team is going to reach out to you. We've got your details, right? And just expect a message from us over the course of tomorrow, right? To actually see your Take a Lot voucher. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and a huge shout out once again to Pumalanga. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you so much, Boucle, for being here today. And it's been a good one, guys. Town Hall number 7 done, and such an amazing energy with us today. And we'll see you in the next town hall. And thank you so much. Ciao, guys. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.